All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Betweenplays. So, if you've noticed, I released a video today, and it took me 3 days to do it because for the last 3 days, I've been basically just going crazy trying to get as much information on Gigametals, whatever I can find, deeper, dig as far as I can go. And of course, there was that article that came out, so definitely had to take a good look at that. And then, we have Monday, which is the only day between, from here to Battery Day, which is on Tuesday, everybody, all right, the 22nd, where Elon Musk states that there's going to be announcements. All right, we just don't know what those announcements are, so let's not, try to guess. He can announce whatever he wants. He's Elon Musk. All right, so as I was researching, I went through a ton of YouTube videos. I went through a ton of articles, newspapers. I was going through, it doesn't matter what I was going through newspapers I can hardly read from different countries, right? I was just going, well, maybe I can speak a little bit of Spanish and maybe I can read it because, I got background in Italian, it's my mother tongue. So let me try, I'm trying to read everything. I'm Google translating, I'm taking articles that I just see names in them, and it's just absolutely insane and ridiculous. But anyways, sometimes most of these times these things bear fruit, or else you find out that you shouldn't do anything with them at all. Anyways, so what happens here is that I stumble across that someone took interest, a billionaire took interest in the company a long time ago in Gigametals. And it was in an interview with Mark Jarvis. And I was like, In that interview, he says that this billionaire was talking like passionately about EV batteries and stuff like that. So I was like, passionately? Or sees a future, and he's talking about future, and it says good things about, it's really interesting. And then Tesla announces Battery Day this year, and my head's going, but I'm like, I'm not gonna assume. We don't assume here, no emotional plays. We research. So I'm like, gotta find out who that billionaire is. Just gotta do it. And guess what? I found out. Oh yeah, baby, I did. So everybody's going, oh my God. So in 2017, someone took a very big interest in Hard Creek Nickel, Hard Creek Resources. I'm always getting that name wrong. It was the name of Gigametals right beforehand. All right. So, but someone took an interest in them. And that someone, I know his name, is because I want to correct the name of what I was calling it before. But Hard Creek Nickel or Hard Creek Metal, whatever. Anyways, the name of him, everybody's like, man, just shut up and just tell me who the freaking billionaire guy is, man. All right. It wasn't Elon Musk, according to these articles back then. It was a very successful investor, a gentleman that has a history of even working with the Rothschild's company. He's not just a nobody or anyone. He's a billionaire. He's been with the big people. He's not just knowing. His name is Michael Beck. Michael Beck, all right, and created the Region Advisors. So basically, Michael Beck, whom was with Region Advisors. Let's just look at this here, okay? All right. So this is from the Palisade Radio here, and there's no date on this, but there's dates on other stuff, and you can do the math of putting dates together. You'll see what I'm trying to say after. So Mike discusses the structural changes that have occurred in the past few years, and he starts talking really well about electric vehicles, all right, and batteries. He's like, it explains here their investment approach and how they approach of doing investments, which I really like because it's really along the terms of researching, planning, and executing type style. All right, I really like that. And it says here that their current metal pick is nickel. They picked that also back then. And while most nickel demand comes from steel, batteries are rapidly increasing percentage. So it says here that while most nickel demand comes from steel, like time has changed here. Everything is going on. So batteries are rapidly increasing percentage. As for electrification of vehicles continues, the need for nickel will become unprecedented. It talks about Indonesia set to take 15% of world supply offline. And look at what's going on with the water. Anyways, polluting the oceans. No bueno, as one of my friends would say. And basically, December, and that disruption is being felt throughout the sector. All right, there's a scramble to find new suppliers. Mike thinks that nickel will increasingly be in deficit and will remain an excellent opportunity for investors. Why do you think that Tesla would go and ask someone out there, please, can you guys like get your together and like, can we get this done in an ethical, in a way that's not going to harm the environment, and you know, have like a real nickel mine here, just going and producing at crazy quantities? Well, Mike Beck says after a long search that they acquired a large-scale nickel project in British Columbia and renamed it to Gigametals. Did everybody just jump off their seats? Because that is a big thing here. These guys, these big guys, back in the day, and because they said they renamed it Gigametals, that means that they acquired it in 2017, because that's when it was Hard Creek, and that's when they changed the name. Because of the research I've done, I know that it stated that they changed the name in order to reflect the future, all right? But that's exactly what Mike Beck is talking here, about the future, and I'll go on and show you how much he knows and he speaks about the future, all right? So there's other things here, but just Mr. Beck was a managing director of NM Rothschild & Sons with responsibility for the firm's mining, oil, and gas advisory and investment activities. So it goes on to say more about Mr. Beck. Mr. Beck is highly successful, all right? So this is like from the Jekyll Islands, Mike Beck, nickel, cobalt, and lithium, all right? Benefit from generational demand shift in commodities, all right? Mike discusses the electric vehicle market and how the consensus view is that they are getting close to parity in price with combustion engines. So, like, listen, guys, I'd love to, there was only a date on this thing, but there isn't. That's what I'd really like to know. But we know it's between 2017 and now, all right? Just by the way it's speaking and the dates that are on here, all right? Getting closer to parity price. It says the EU, USA, Japan, and China markets will all reach price parity within 6 years and possibly sooner. Many governments are pushing regulations requiring electric vehicles within the next few years. That's important. It's very important. Manufacturing plants for electric vehicles are cheaper to build and require less floor space than combustion vehicles. Only half the capital and factory footprints are needed, and these plants are also 30% cheaper in terms of labor. Car companies are seeing the economic advantages and are moving towards phasing out combustion engines. The passenger vehicle market will move towards 15 to 20% of all vehicle sales by 2025. So we see the dates, so it's within our time frame here. Mike and his team have focused on 3 metals that go into battery packs, okay? Lithium, cobalt, and nickel. Electric vehicles require lithium for the battery packs. If you assume that 20% of passenger vehicles move to electric, the world will need some 6 times current lithium, cobalt mine supply, and 3 times current class 1 nickel supply. Not just like nickel, class 1 nickel supply. Gigametals is class 1 because in geological lifeline, it's a relatively young mine, and this is exactly what you need. Class 1 nickel is battery ready and technical. So anyways, a lot of capital will be needed to allocate this. Okay, so he discusses 3 companies that provide opportunity in each of the metal spaces. LSC Lithium, which is under the lsc.ca, all right? Cobalt 27, CVE, Cobalt, and then there's Gigametals. That's right, Gigametals is there. So he continues to talk about other stuff here, which everything will be posted up there. And now we go to a Kitco interview. That's right, Kitco. Now we have dates, and now, you know, we got like Kitco, not just anybody here. So this was on June 2nd, 2019. So it's relatively new. Kitco News. So, years of underinvestment, long lead times for mine development, and a coming surge of electric vehicle demands are all bullish factors for nickel, said Michael Beck, managing directors at Regent Advisors. So Beck spoke to Kitco News. Nickel is a key component of lithium-ion batteries, and Beck said Tesla's next generation of lithium-ion batteries uses more of the element. The ramp-up for demand is just the beginning, said Beck. All electric vehicles are going to impose a new demand source on nickel that never really existed before. It takes 7 to 10 years to bring on new nickel projects. So you have the makings, I think at least this is our, it's not written properly, of a perfect storm. So basically, so Kitco is like, what impact is the electric vehicle revolution going to have on nickel? Nickel is probably the single most important metal component in battery fabrication. Look, we all know this, okay? We don't have to go through all tonnage and everything like that. What is important is that, why is nickel important for electric vehicles? Well, it's interesting. Elon Musk said a couple of years ago that really lithium-ion batteries was a misnomer. It should really be called nickel iron, and that's because that's the energy density of a battery. The energy is stored by the nickel units. And if you look at an average Model 3, it consumes something on the order of 30 kilograms of nickel. Anyways, let's keep on moving forward. So then he talks about different companies. I find this is very interesting. It's a little bit of a challenge because the world's largest nickel producer, at least in the Western world, is Vale. But Vale is really an iron ore producer. Nickel represents probably less than 15% of the company's portfolio. So if you buy Vale, right, you're really not getting nickel, you're getting an iron ore share. Vale has its own challenges, and it gets into like some balance sheet stuff, but this is 2019 June. But so that's, the rest was interesting before that. Then there's another interesting nickel producer that we own, is Independence Group NL out of Australia. They have a market cap of about 1.5 billion. All right, let's keep on going. Maybe the most interesting in the larger cap of established players is Norilsk out of Russia. They're probably the single best large cap to get exposure to nickel, has a good dividend yield, and the major producer of the metal. And when nickel goes up, their share price goes up accordingly. At the smaller cap end of the spectrum, there are a bunch of smallish nickel explorers and emerging developers. One that we like particularly is a company called Giga Metals. It's listed on the TSX, even though it has a market capitalization of less than 10 million. It happens to own the world's second largest undeveloped nickel sulfide deposit. Nickel sulfide is the preferred form of nickel for the production of Class 1 nickel, which is what is required for battery fabrication. We think the company is completely mispriced asset, and we look at it as an undated call option on nickel. I'm going to link it all there. So, this guy was there in 2017. They changed the name. Look at the way they speak about this. So now I'm all here about doing the research and trying to connect the dots and seeing what I'm missing. Guys, what do you think, man? What do you think? Can this be the one on Battery Day? Can it really be the one? Like, Michael Beck worked for the Rothschilds, man. And he worked there for a long time. He's a multi-billionaire. He's successful at what he does. And he worked like in the Rothschild department of like basically oil and gas and stuff like that. So he knows what's going on, man. Look, come on, the Rothschilds? What, they don't have the capital? What, they don't have the resources? What, they won't let like their lead guy go and utilize all the resources that they need to find out what's going on in places? Come on, let's go. Let's think about this here. Look, man. I don't know about you guys, but this here for me, it's just making me think that tomorrow I'm going to put in a bit. That's my call for me. The 3 days of psychotic, intense research, plus all the other research beforehand, and this new information, this guy talking this way about nickel, and this is a last year interview with Kitco, and he's putting his reputation online talking like that. And in Canada, he picks Giga Metals, and they acquired Giga Metals, right, in 2017. Well, I'm the type of investor that I like to follow the billionaires, and then of course I like to follow the research of the billionaires, and I like to follow where we are now. And now that we have over 4 million of working capital, which was a good play because, like I said, maybe they don't know what's going on because Mr. Musk is holding the purse strings, and of course, naturally, people should research what they're putting their money into, and I'm sure that Mr. Musk does that. So they have 4 million of working capital now, and nickel is the new gold, just like Elon Musk said. So put us all together. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to put in for myself, what I can afford to lose, just in case it goes belly up. But it's like someone in my comments said, what's going on in Indonesia and polluting the oceans and stuff like that? Well, putting a little bit of money over here and investing in something that you believe in, it's a good way to go. And Warren Buffett always says that it's like you're investing in a company. So invest in something that you love and that you believe in, that you want to grow. And that's how I'm going in this tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm buying into a company that is going to, I pray, be picked up by someone, and that this big deposit is going to be used to produce nickel so that we can move forward with more electric vehicles. So now you guys, you do your research and you invest accordingly to what you research. And like I said, I'm going in very, very, very small. And if it just bellies up, well, it bellies up. But, this is for me. This is my investment. I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible. I'm just having a very hard time seeing that, there's going to be shorters coming in and all this kind of stuff. We know how the game goes, right? Especially on small caps. We know how it goes. But they have 4 million market capital right now. I'm going to be in a small amount for the long term. And we'll see what happens. All right, guys. So just wanted to get this out there. And I hope you enjoy it. Please hit that subscribe button and go look at the playlists. Do your research and invest wisely, all right? And invest according to what, if you're going to take chances, what you could just afford to lose, all right, guys? All right, so stay strong. I'm out. See you tomorrow.